Hello and welcome to the Adventure Film Club. So generally speaking, the content I put up onto YouTube is of me somewhere in the mountains, more often than not, in the winter especially so, having an adventure. I'm sure you're aware other people go out and have adventures too. So why don't we have a wee think about other people's adventures and the films they have made with my top 5 mountaineering stroke climbing films currently available to stream stroke watch on platforms like Amazon Prime, Netflix, YouTube. So seeing as this is the Adventure Film Club, I thought we may as well have a little film club. And I'm going to start doing wee series of my recommendations of the best adventure stroke mountaineering films out there to view. I think the next one I'll do will focus on Scottish winter climbing. That's the season we're in. It's winter. Winter climbing's going on in Scotland. So I'll do a wee top 5 videos stroke films you can get on, usually on YouTube, let's face it. Probably on YouTube, out there to watch, to get you fired up, to take on those winter mountains. Grr. This list, however, is my top 5 mountaineering documentaries out there to watch right now. I'm not going to do these in ascending or descending order. I'm just going to give you my top 5 and I may tell you my own personal favourite at the end, if you're lucky. In no particular order, just because this is the newest 14 Peaks. Get yourself on Netflix and watch 14 Peaks. It is an astounding achievement pulled off by a Nepalese climber called Nim. Now this guy decided that the previous record for climbing all of the world's tallest mountains, i.e. all of the mountains above 8,000 meters, of which there are 14, the clue is in the title, he decides that he's going to climb all of those 14 peaks, all of the biggest mountains in the world, basically mountains like Everest and then slightly smaller than Everest, but very often more dangerous than Everest, like K2. He's going to climb all of these peaks in 7 months. The previous record took years and years, because climbing these sort of mountains takes planning, logistics, training, money. It's a huge deal just to bag one of these peaks. The fact that he set out to bag all 14 of these peaks in a single season is just quite astounding. You could say the guy is a little bit unhinged, but you know, there's a little bit of unhinged in all of us if you put yourself in these horrible, dangerous winter mountaineering situations. If it had been a European climber, I think there would be a lot more fuss being made about it. He's getting a lot of fuss made about him now because there's a Netflix documentary and word is spreading of his achievement. But if this had been, you know, some American or European climber, I think there would have been OBEs, MBEs, basically just a huge fuss made about them. However, that's all geopolitics and racism. We'll forget about that. The film itself is an astounding achievement. Give it a watch. Because it's the newest, I'm mentioning it first, but go watch it. For me, it's not the greatest film on this list in terms of the art and the cinematography and the narrative flow and all the rest of it, but just for the staggering achievement, quite possibly the greatest achievement in the history of mountaineering, Nim has pulled off. And he remortgaged his house to make it happen. So go give it a watch, give the guy a bit of your support, and let's see what he comes up with next. So, the next one on my list, which was a huge deal at the time it came out, you've probably heard of it, everyone has, it was a massive deal at the Oscars and everything, is, of course, Free Solo. Alex Honnold climbing El Capitan with no ropes, free soloing the whole route, some very hard moves. You know, I quite like going out and soloing routes, but I always solo quite easy stuff that I'm well within my comfort zone. Alex Honnold was, I mean, I don't think he was ever near the limit of his comfort zone, but he certainly got pretty close to pushing the limit of his comfort zone on this free solo attempt. I don't think I need to say much more about it than that. He free solos El Capitan. It's insane. Go give it a watch. It's on Netflix, I think. Now, a wee throwback to about 20 years ago. This documentary, stroke filmumentary, came out nearly 20 years ago, and it is, of course, Touching the Void. Quite a grueling watch, but one of the most dramatic and intense and engaging pieces of film about the mountains you will ever see. Essentially, two blokes go off to climb a first ascent in the Peruvian Andes. They get the ascent, on the way back down, everything goes wrong, weather closes in, one of them breaks their legs, all sorts of horrible decisions about having to cut ropes and throw your friend off into the abyss of the depths below. It's a grueling watch, but a gripping one from start to finish. Go and seek out Touching the Void. So, in terms of storytelling and cinematography and narrative drive and plot and tension and all the rest of it, the next two are probably my favourite two on the list. And the first one of these is a little gem called Meru. Again, you've probably heard of it. If you're into the mountaineering world, these sorts of films pop up. They're big deals, quite big budget, well-known climbers. They pop up on our radar. But Meru is one of the most fascinating watches I've ever seen when it comes to mountain documentaries. Essentially, three of the world's best climbers, best big mountain alpinists, mountaineers, go and take on the shark's fin on Meru in the Indian Himalayas. It basically just looks like a big old slab of unclimbable rock. It's defeated many a party over the years. It's been a huge deal for somebody to get their first ascent. And the story of these three climbers going out twice to try this is just unbelievable. The twists, the turns, the family dramas, the personal dramas, the injuries. It's just an unbelievable watch. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and still, somehow, no spoilers, everything that can go right possibly goes right too. But that's Meru. It is a stunning watch, great cinematography, amazing film, loved every second of it. For a good while, Meru was my favourite climbing stroke mountaineering documentary stroke film I'd ever seen. It's just so gripping, it's so well shot, the story's great, takes you along. It's quite a long film, but it takes you along for the ride and you're never bored and it's always exciting. But then I watched a little film called The Dawn Wall with Tommy Caldwell, and that replaced Meru and became the favourite mountaineering stroke climbing stroke adventure film I have ever seen. There's just something about Tommy Caldwell's story in trying to take on the Dawn Wall that just really gets you from the outset. It's emotionally engaging, it's tense, it's gripping, it's exciting, it's grueling. With his partner Kevin Jorgensen, they spend like 19 days, 20 days, nearly 3 weeks. They're basically on the Dawn Wall, on a portaledge for nearly 3 weeks, attempting to free this climb. Tommy Caldwell's story himself is just such an interesting story, a sort of accidental superstar when he was a teenager, thrust into the limelight with a major geopolitical event when he was a teenager still. By the time this guy was 18, he was already a global superstar of climbing, but he's essentially a very shy and humble guy, so it's very interesting to see his personal story and him attempting to overcome his own personal demons and difficulties in life by climbing and focusing on what should have been an insanely impossible project, the Dawn Wall. A bit like Meru, you should just look at it and say, nah, that's impossible, not going to try. But the thing about Meru and Dawn Wall is they elevate climbing and mountaineering to the next level because they see something, and when everyone else says it's impossible, they said, I'm going to damn well try it, and they go and they try it. And no spoilers, they may or may not succeed. That is my top 5 list in no particular order, although obviously I love Meru and the Dawn Wall particularly. So that's 14 Peaks, Meru, the Dawn Wall, Free Solo, Touching the Void. Watch all those 5, you'll have a whale of a time. Next time, I'm going to focus on Scottish winter and mixed climbing and look at all the best wee documentaries and YouTube films and videos out there that you can watch about Scottish winter climbing. If you want, feel free to have a wee subscribe and join the Adventure Film Club.